In this video you'll learn how you can recreate these houses in Blender. I'll show you the modeling and the texturing part. In the next video I'll show you how I've created the environment, and I've already uploaded the 2 videos about the vehicle that you can see in the render. If you're interested in the 3D files, you can find them on xrpage.com. I'll give you the link down below in the description. For creating the basic shape of the house, I've used the default cube and I've scaled it on all the 3 axes. I've used a bevel modifier, set it to vertices, after press right click and convert to mesh. Select these 2 faces and after press E for extrude, S and Y in order to scale them. Now press I to inset a face and another time S and Y to scale them. I selected these edges and after switch to individual origins and press S. By pressing Alt and left click on your keyboard, you can select this loop here. After I've pressed Ctrl R and 5 and I've scaled down these 2 edges loops. I've repeated a similar sequence on the other 2 faces, so I pressed E, S and X after I and SX. Select these 2 face loops and press I on the keyboard twice. After I've selected these ones and I've pressed ES on the keyboard. To decrease the sharpness of the edges, I've used a bevel modifier. This time is set to edges like default, and the amount is 0.01. In order to add extra details, I've selected these 2 faces and I've pressed like before I on the keyboard and E, S and Y. After I've selected all these faces and switched to individual origins another time, and I've pressed I for insert the faces and after 2 times E. Here you can press another time I and after press just S and X on the keyboard. Now add a cylinder of 100 vertices and delete these 2 vertices right in the middle. And delete also the second circle. Now select a half and move it on the y-axis. After select these vertices and press F on the keyboard. Before pressing F, select all the vertices. After press E in order to extrude it. Now select the house and add a boolean modifier. Press Ctrl A when your cursor is here, in this way you can apply the modifier. Add a simple cube and scale it. After select these edges here and press Ctrl B. If you want more windows, add an array modifier, and just like before, add a boolean modifier. For the interior part, I've used some planes. Scale them and after use the boolean, but this time switch to intersect, and after press convert to mesh. Delete all the overlapping faces. And repeat this process also for the other walls, the ceiling and the floor. For adding extra details to the main entrance, I've used Ctrl R after I've selected with Alt and left click the face loop and I've pressed E and S. I've repeated this sequence also for the other part. For creating the door, I've selected the central loop. After I press Shift D in order to duplicate it. I've deleted these 2 faces. And in order to fill the gap between the faces, select these edges and press F on the keyboard. After that, I've continued to edit the mesh with the same commands that I've shown you before. For creating the second floor of the house, I've used the same technique that I've used in order to create the first floor. For creating the stairs, you can just scale down a cube, press Ctrl R and chew on the keyboard, and after press another time Ctrl R for each side. Now select the little face that is created between the loop cuts and extrude it. After that, just change the value on the Z-axis of the array modifier and the simple stairs are done. Now I'll show you a quick demonstration of how you can cut the hole between the first and the second floor. For doing that, I've used a simple cube. I've selected the second floor and I've added a boolean modifier and I've selected the second cube. Repeat the same thing also for the first floor. After press convert to mesh and convert to mesh. Now start to delete these faces. And hide the second cube. As you can see, there is the hole, and because we have the plane that is the intersection, one for the ceiling and the other for the floor. Do the same thing, so just add another boolean modifier and select the cube number 2, and also for this one. Convert to mesh both like before. After join them, press tab in order to enter edit mode, and by selecting these edges, press F. Okay, so. And in this way you can create the hole between the two floors. Before creating the materials in Blender, it's really important that you do this little operation. So select one object at a time, press on tab in order to enter edit mode. So basically now I'm going to show you how you can create these red lines on the mesh. These are really important because the texture that you're going to apply will not look stretched. Switch to edge select and press on select and select sharp edges. After that, press right click and mark seam. After that you press mark seam, switch to face select and on X-ray. Select all the faces and press unwrap and unwrap. Before that you press on unwrap, remember to go on object and make sure that the scale is uniform. So press apply and scale. After that you will be ready to apply texture on your models and they will not look stretched. The material of the external part of the house is created with this node setup. So there are two mixed shaders, as you can see. The first one has as a factor a normal Musgrave texture with 112 as scale and details to 15. This mixed shader creates this kind of black effect that you can see on the edges. So the first input is the principal BSDF. The base color is just value 0.5. It has for the metallic, it has this just placement texture that you're seeing right on the screen. The roughness is connected to a noise texture with an RGB curse. The roughness basically creates this kind of white effect here. And I've used another noise texture connected to a color ramp for creating this kind of little details here. After there is a bump node that has strength 2.6 and distance 2.5, and I've connected the metallic also to another bump node with 0.2 for strength and 0.2 as distance. The black is a normal principal BSDF. This is the output. So as you can see, it has the black on all the parts of the surface. And because I want that the black stay only on the edges, I've used another mix shader that has as a factor this node setup. So there is a texture coordinate, a bevel node, and a cross product. This is the vector matte node. This one, and switch to cross product. After there is an absolute and a color ramp. The first input of the second mix shader is the other mix shader that I've shown you before. And the second input is the white material. That is basically how you can create the orange and the white material. This black part here is just a normal principal BSDF that has metallic to 0.9 and roughness to 0.2. I've took this texture here from AmbientCG and is called the Metal Walkway 012. This other texture is from AmbientCG and is the Sheet Metal 004. This glass material is a mix shader with the first input, a gloss BSDF that has 0.4 as a value, and the second input is a transparent BSDF with 0.45. The mix shader has the factor to near 0.9. And also this texture is from AmbientCG and is called the Solar Panel 002. In the next video I'll show you how you can recreate this environment in Blender. I've already uploaded 2 videos for the vehicle that you are seeing right now on the screen. I hope that you found this video helpful, subscribe for more, and see you all in the next one.